I've seen your podcast. You're all you're talking.
Oh, look at this, he's upset.
No, the biggest miss that you can possibly, whatever the biggest word is, I don't have enough of a vocabulary. Yeah, whatever it is, this is a miss of the highest order. Dreadful footballer.
Fully agree. Rory Jennings, again, I go back to the first question. Do you believe everything you say in front of these cameras?
Yes, I do.
Absolute
this is quite existential. This feels like a therapy session for you.
I feel like you're still ganging up on me now.
What's your happiest memory in the fixture?
Walking off the pitch, to be honest, mate. When
in the club in a direction that's unrecognisable and they're destroying the soul of the club. Painful. But we'll always have our memories. We'll always have Hazard.
Yeah.
We'll always have 5-1 at Wembley. We'll always have 6-1 at the Lane. We'll always have Torre Andreflo's hat-trick.
I think it's a bit like your wardrobe, a bit plain. There's nothing really happening at Spurs.
But ultimately, Arsenal are going to win the game 3-0.
3-0? You're not going to win.
They always batter you.
Hello, I'm Jamie O'Hara and I'm here today with Rory Jennings and Poet for some fiery football chat for Grosvenor Sport. Make sure you check out grosvenorsport.com for all your specials and some huge price boosts and free bets. Lads, let's get straight into it and crack on. How are we?
Good. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm on a quest to get the mother of my kids back, so this is a really nice way.
Here's the way to do it.
Yeah, I'm showing I'm going to work, I'm going to send her the link and hopefully we can be a happy family.
Maybe you should have thought about your wardrobe then if you wanted to do that, but let's move on.
Oh.
North London derby, right? Let's get straight into it. Mm-hmm. Massive game coming up.
Yes.
Obviously, Poet, I know you're a gooner, right? You're a big gooner, and I feel like you're going to apple crumble in this one. No Rice.
You can't honestly believe
no
that,
Rice.
Jamie. You must have learnt from all of your
Arsenal already on the ropes. You've got your fans moaning and crying and bitching already about a red card that Rice should have got. I think you're going to go into this one and struggle, mate. I do.
No, I think it's a bit like your wardrobe, a bit plain. There's nothing really happening at Spurs. You know what I'm saying? You lot need to go on holidays and get tans and hugs. Arsenal, honestly, I think we're going to be in a bit of a problem because I've always thought Rice was probably in the 8, and I agree with you. I think he should have got sent up, to be honest with you. So
I thought it was harsh. I do think it's harsh,
but I just think the one thing I like about Manchester City and the Arsenal sides of the past, and this is the reason why I'm scared about going into North London derbies like this, is for that 90 minutes, irrespective of the logic goes out the window. Get to the final whistle and get the result over the line. And I've gone to enough games to know sometimes the referee's just in a bit of a mood. So he has the power, he has the advantage. We have to win the game, and that game's going to be massive. Fans screaming. You can't be intimidated. You got to be a man. And I just think I don't want to see immature decisions being made.
I just don't think that Arsenal have any problems going into this fixture. I really don't. Sometimes because you support Arsenal and you're like desperate to see him win the league, I think that sometimes when you've got a dog in the fight, you can see it for the worst situation that it could possibly be. You kind of catastrophize it. I've got no dog in the fight. If anything, I want it to be a draw. I don't want Arsenal to win the league. I can never want Tottenham to win.
No, Arsenal
are going to batter Tottenham. Arsenal are going to batter Tottenham.
Listen,
it's been difficult.
You've got no Declan Rice. That's a massive plus for us.
Yeah.
There's a massive plus.
It doesn't matter.
It does. Of course it matters. He's their best player. He's a holding midfielder. When he plays, he makes things happen. And he's unbelievable. Declan Rice has been a brilliant signing for Arsenal. And what he does is he breaks up play, anticipates where the ball's going to be. When he's not on the pitch, Arsenal play differently. I don't think Thomas Partey, he'd give up for the goal that Brighton scored the other day. Stop running. There will be times when Maddison will be able to get in pockets and make things happen. Declan Rice is a big loss. And anyone says he ain't, it's a big loss for them.
It's a big loss, but with or without Rice, they win.
Can I ask you one question? Do you honestly believe everything you say? Because I think we've got a responsibility in front of these cameras, in front of these wonderful people, to tell enough of the truth. Do you honestly believe Declan Rice is Arsenal's best player?
I think he's one of the most important players.
So you've changed your statement.
No, he's the most important. He's been your best player.
It's now an interracial statement.
Who's the best player?
It's a bit mixed. I don't know. I just don't believe it's Declan Rice. But well done.
Declan Rice has been one of the best players at Arsenal. And you take him out of the team, you've got a massive problem. So going into that North London derby, you've got a massive problem with that.
I don't think it's a massive problem because in that number 8 position, he hasn't been super effective anyway. And I think the sending off was kind of a little bit of frustration in that positioning. In number 6, where he started for Arsenal last season, incredible. Partey's come in there now. I'm not seeing him as effective. It's kind of like an interesting time for Arsenal to see who else could go into that number 8 role. Marino's not going to be here for 2 months because he's injured. So I'm interested to see who plays there under these circumstances. I don't think the game's going to be a situation where I'm sweating. It's only Spurs. So,
Hey, Jamie, can I ask you from, like, taking it away from Arsenal, just taking it away from Rice, taking it away from everything that's going on at Arsenal, have you seen enough in Tottenham to suggest that they can beat a team that finished 2 points behind Man City last season?
What are we talking about?
What have you seen from Tottenham this season under big Edge?
Mate, the football has been brilliant. We haven't took our chances. That's the main thing. We've had all the possession. We've created chances. At the moment, we haven't put it in the back of the net, but we've got to hope that comes. Against Leicester, we were the better side.
Should have battered them.
Against Newcastle, we were the better side. Second half, should have won the game. Didn't take our chances. And this is the problem. Solanke gets injured. Richarlison, for me, ain't good enough. So you look at the front line and you go, it's all right having all the possession and having all this playing. We're playing well, moving the ball around, creating chances. We don't put it in the back of the net, you're going to end up getting beat.
no one's going to he's going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Against the best defence in the league.
the positives are there. The positives are there. When you look at Tottenham, the positives are there. I think we'll dictate the tempo of the game. I think we'll have more possession. And then it's just about players turning up on the day and taking their chances. You can't tell me Son can't score, 2 or 3 goals in a football match. We'll see. Solanke, he might be back. I don't know. And then, you've got Odebear, you've got Kulusevski, you've got Maddison. The players are there to go and win the game. You can't tell me that Tottenham going in that game with no hope.
It was the most stingy defence in the league last season.
Of course.
Arsenal had the most miserly defence in the league last season. They've then strengthened it.
All right. So,
and you lot are incredibly wasteful. Incredibly wasteful in front of goal. Against Leicester City, it was somewhat of an embarrassment. I'm thinking they've just been promoted. You lot, tuck them in, show them what the Premier League's like.
Don't take the chances. Don't take the chances.
But is that going to change against Arsenal?
Saliba, Gabriel.
It's got to change. Listen, Gabriel and Saliba, brilliant centre halves. But let's not get carried away here. All right? It ain't Yap Stam. It's not.
Yap Stam. Are you old enough to remember Yap Stam?
Is Yap Stam your go-to? Is he your go-to?
Well, Yap Stam's the top player.
Is he your go-to?
Gabriel.
Let's emphasise, Yap Stam had like 1.5 seasons in the Premier League. He can't really remember Yap Stam.
I remember Yap Stam, mate, trust me. Right? You talk about top centre-halves. They're good centre-halves. Saliba, brilliant centre-half. I love him. All right? Gabriel, really good last season. You can't tell me there's not mistakes in them. Of course there's mistakes in them. You're going on like they're the best centre-halves in the world.
It's whether Tottenham have it in them to punish them for those mistakes. Though. If the mistakes exist, if Gabriel is going to have a bad game,
who do you think we are, Rory?
I think you're a team that hasn't won. I think you're a team that hasn't won a trophy since 2008. I think you're a team that calls yourself a good cup team. Two League Cups since 1991.
That means nothing, mate. That means absolutely
nothing. It means something on Saturday. I'll be honest, on the weekend. It's going to mean something.
North London derby, everything changes. It's like a cup final. Whoever
turns
up on the day,
Rory, again, I go back to the first question. Do you believe everything you say in front of these cameras?
Yes, I do.
Absolutely.
This has got existential. This feels like a therapy session for you.
I feel like you're still ganging up on me now.
This is not talk sport. We're in a bloody casino. Let's pretend like we're here. I understand you're betting and making chances, but Jesus Christ, it's not Monopoly. Let's stop at some point. In defence, I think you're going to struggle to score. You know that as well. You're going to struggle. I think the only way Tottenham win is in midfield. I do believe in Basuma and Sarr. I think they're great midfielders, but your front line, mate, if you cannot punish Leicester City, FaZe and all these other guys.
3 games in.
And 3 games in, our defence still looks great. And your attack, 7 days, mate, very weak. So I think you have to be honest with yourself and just say, you hope you score on Sunday or Saturday.
I'll back
not
us,
you.
Mate. I'll back us.
Look at the confidence. The cadence is not even there anymore.
I'll back us, mate.
Say it with chest. Believe yourself.
I think we'll win the game.
He's looking at you. You can't I say it with confidence.
I feel like Dr. Melfi in this situation.
He's dressed for a funeral. I'm dressed for a fashion. Honestly, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't feel confident, Jamie.
Honestly, they talk so much garbage. Honestly, they big themselves up like they're the best team in the world. Like they ain't won a title for years. They crumble every time they come up against a big club.
Jamie, you've never won a title.
When it gets to the end of the season,
big
Arsenal
man, what are you talking about? Crumbling.
Like you never win a Champions League.
What do you win? An opportunity.
Honestly,
what do you win?
They go on like the Real Madrid. These Arsenal fans, and they'll be bitching and crying like they do every season. I'm so bored of having the same conversation every time I sit down with an Arsenal fan.
Do you think Postecoglou's got it in him?
They think they're Real Madrid.
Do you think Postecoglou's got it in him? Like realistically, what it's going to take for Tottenham to win this game? It's going to be a really tough game. Probably the toughest game of the season. Does Postecoglou have what it takes to find a recipe to win this game?
Rory?
I've seen nothing in Postecoglou to suggest that he's capable of it.
Honestly, mate.
He's going out beef for tomorrow. He's stressed out. He's like, at this point, we're just trying to pay the bills.
Seriously.
We do not believe in Tottenham Hotspur.
Seriously. And Postecoglou has won trophies every single club he's been at.
And what
every
club? Let's name the clubs.
But it doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what
It's got to matter a bit.
No, it doesn't. Everywhere
club
he's
has
been,
gone.
he's
Celtic.
won trophies.
Celtic,
Simple as
Brendan
that.
Rodgers won something there. Let's carry on.
Australia.
Australia.
Brendan
in
Rodgers is a
Cyprus.
top manager in Australia. Loads of
Geezer.
trophies.
Usain Bolt played in Australia. What are you lot doing? Spurs, honestly, come here, tell the truth. You got people to tell the truth to. Tell them you don't really believe
Honestly,
in
man, I've seen your podcast. You're talking shit all the time.
Oh, look at this. He's upset.
I love that. I've seen your podcast. Your podcast is shit.
You literally live on talking garbage every week.
I'm going to go for, because Jamie's here and I want him to have a good time for the rest of this, let's go for a 2-1 Arsenal. I was going to say 4-1, but I'm being nice.
I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs. I think we win the game.
I thought, do you know what you were going to say then? I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
He has no belief. He looks side to side when he says it. Look down the camera and say it with
I really
chest.
hope that you can somehow nick a draw, but ultimately Arsenal are going to win the game 3-0.
3-0? You're not going to win 3.
They always batter you.
Honestly, mate.
Hi everyone, I feel free. We're going to encourage people to tweet Jamie, to tell him, don't worry, it's not that bad. It's just life. You don't beat Arsenal, really.
Fans, honestly, they don't stop.
It's an iconic fixture. Like, this North London derby really does mean something, I think, to the entire world. It's a very special fixture, and you're lucky enough to have played in it.
Yeah.
What's your
Played in it.
most memorable moment from this fixture?
I mean, obviously, I made my full debut for Spurs there at the Emirates. Yeah, unbelievable game. I mean, I have to say, it is an incredible fixture. You build up to it. It's the first game you think about. Arsenal away, Emirates, Arsenal at home. So, yeah, I remember playing against Fabregas, Jack Wilshere. I remember playing against him in midfield. And to be fair to him, like, he burst on the scene. And you thought he was good, but you didn't realise how good he was until you played against him. He was a top player. Fabregas again. I remember running around for the first 20 minutes thinking, I'm just going to try and snap him. Couldn't get near him for 20 minutes.
And was Wilshere the same? So how highly do you rate Wilshere? And where do you think he could have gone if the injuries didn't happen?
If he didn't get injured, he'd be one of the best
Really?
generational talents ever. I mean, everyone says generational talents these days, but for me, he was up there like Phil Foden level. That's how good he was, yeah. But his injuries killed him. He's had a glass ankle, didn't he? So, but great lad, good footballer. Ended up having a good career, really, and Arsenal stuck by him, didn't they? But
what was the score that day? Do you remember?
yeah, of course I fucking remember.
He lately got beat.
Did they win?
We got beat 2-1.
Well, they're going to win on the weekend.
And what about your
Yeah, we
least-
got beat. But no, I've played in a few big ones. Like there's been some big games, obviously, against Arsenal. You know, I remember the 5-1, the Carabao Cup game, which we ended up going on winning that one. Played in that one. Played in the away fixture. It's just a big game. Like, the fans build up to it. You know, it's, you know, when you're playing a big North London derby, the feeling, the atmosphere, everything about it, you can't wait for it. You can't sleep the night before. So, yeah, I mean, it's always a great day.
What's your happiest memory in the fixture?
Walking off the pitch, to be honest, mate, when just getting off there.
Oh,
yeah,
mate.
just getting off. Yeah, I mean, look, loads of them have been great. Look, just being there, do you know, as a footballer, when you walk out on the pitch, you just love it. You're thinking, I'm playing it. You don't think. Once you cross the white line, it's just another moment. Yeah. You're just living in the moment. You're playing in the game. It's only afterwards when you look back and you watch them back and you go, oh, that was a big game. That was a big day. But when you're there, you just take it in your stride, don't you? You just don't really think about it as a footballer. You just get on with it. It's only when you hear the fans going mad and everyone's going after it and everyone's talking about it. I get more riled up about the game now than when I played. Because when I played, it was just another game.
Did it feel more intense? You know, like the stadium. Yeah, did it always feel that a little bit more aggressive?
Yeah, of course. It was a massive fixture, right? Do you know what I mean? And everyone's, you go in, you want to set the stall out, you want to make tackles and get stuck in early doors. And there was always moments like Adebayor, you wanted to try and nail him because he was so good. But yeah, you just felt like it was, when you're playing, you just play. Now I get the ump more about it because I'm watching it. And it hurts more when I'm watching, I'm seeing Arsenal and you're thinking, oh my God, I want to be out there. And then you realise, you put on 20 kilos and you can't be out there anymore.
Is there any players that were made you know the significance of this game from the fans' perspective? Was there any players that maybe had to encourage some of the foreign boys to have a deeper understanding of this fixture in English football?
Yeah, I think at Tottenham, I think there was a few lads who didn't understand how big the game was. Asu Ikoto was one of them.
And he's smart, Carl.
Yeah, hated football, but he was unbelievable left back, just hated football. and it just turn up, and they just didn't care about the game. But you know, we had a group that I was in. Obviously, we had Gareth Bale, we had Bentley, Robbie Keane, Defoe. People knew like that. This was a big game. We'd grown up on that game, and obviously, Luka Modric come in, and he was just so good that he didn't. It didn't matter if he knew who Arsenal were or not. He was still going to be one of the best players. So I think it took a few of them, to get them up for it. But once they did, you realise how big that fixture is and what it means to the fans. It is everything, really.
And obviously, you've played another London derby, so like Chelsea-Tottenham, for example. Yeah. Chelsea-Tottenham, from our perspective, always feels incredibly intense.
I think it does now, but I think when I was playing, they didn't have the same rivalry. I think maybe because the Battle of the Bridge was after when I was playing. So after the Battle of the Bridge and all that, it became that big rivalry. But for me, it was Arsenal-Tottenham.
Was it?
That was the game. Chelsea was obviously a big game as well, but that never felt like for me that it was one that I was like I couldn't wait to play in.
Right.
But Arsenal was the one, and we want to play there. Arsenal at home, that was the boy.
There was a long running time where Spurs hadn't beat Chelsea for a long period of time.
Dele Alli it's 27 years at Stamford Bridge. They didn't win.
Jesus.
I don't think I've ever beat Chelsea.
Haven't you?
No, I don't think so. When I played there for Wolves. I played there for Tottenham.
Okay.
Played there for Pompey, but yeah, I mean, Chelsea. Thing is, your Chelsea team now is completely different to what it used to be. I played against John Terry, Lampard, Ballack, Essien,
Ballers,
Drogba. Like that team was unbelievable. When you turning up and it was like walking on the pitch and it's like, man.
You know the record that Chelsea had over Tottenham, like pushing 30 years. I think Dele Alli kind of broke the duck, but the winners at Tottenham against Chelsea was scored by Gary Lineker and then Dele Alli. So all those players in between, nobody scored a winner at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
Do those things matter? Because like Chelsea will always say, like Chelsea over Tottenham, we were always going to win. We always felt like we were going to win.
Yeah, I mean, I think it affects you. Anyone who says that them stats don't matter, like the players know about the stats. You talk about the stats and you say, like, lads, we owe these one. Do you know what I mean? We can't keep turning up here and getting beat. You did end up turning up and getting beat.
But over the years, because there's always like rare occasions where you see a result and you think, how did that happen? For example, I remember when I saw Leicester City beat Man City at
5-1 the back.
I don't know what was going on. I don't know what was going on. So throughout that period of time, do you feel that it was Chelsea were just supreme better than you, much better than you every single time? Or do you think some of the stats and all of that also played a big part in it?
I think first and foremost, when I played against Chelsea, they were just a better team. Yeah. Tottenham weren't at that level. Tottenham have been trying to get to that level, and really, they're still not there in terms of what Chelsea have done. But I just remember playing against them and thinking, oh my God, this team's so good. But they were just like men, they just didn't concede goals. They are so hard to beat. Arsenal have become a bit like that now, I think. Yeah. Like they're hard to beat.
Yeah,
like you don't turn up against Arsenal now and think, like you used to play like Bolton away, Arsenal, you think, well, we're going to get
100%.
They're going to get bullied.
100%.
You turn up, Arsenal are getting bullied today. Guarantee it. Sam Allardyce team, they're going to turn them over. Arsenal are not like that anymore. Chelsea, that's what Chelsea used to be. Yeah. No one could bully Chelsea.
No one.
Yeah, it was that spine, wasn't it? Check Terry, Lampard, Drogba. It's
and
just
the foundation
so strong.
And the back as well. Like the defence they had when Mourinho came in, when I watched Mourinho. And even before then, I remember Vialli being there and there was Desailly, there was Labouf. I just remember good defenders at Chelsea, so you couldn't bully a side like that in comparison to today.
Also, that record, that 15-goal record that Chelsea have. A lot of records I think are there to be broken, but some records, maybe Arsenal Invincible is an example. 15 goals just won't be broken, will it?
Well, I mean, when you think about that, 15 goals in a season. 38 games. That is outrageous. Outrageous stat, that. 15 goals.
Arsenal were close in 99. I almost think it might have been 19 or 18 goals under Wenger. Yeah. But that's when we had the old Black Five, so it was kind of probably more them than it was anyone else.
I don't know if that'll get beat,
No.
Just the modern day, the way the game's changed and decisions now and things like that. I just don't know if that'll ever get beat.
That is ridiculous. So then, by the time the 2016 situation happens, and I'm watching in my house, and I'm seeing Spurs thinking they're going to win the league, and then you play Chelsea,
2-0,
and then Eden Hazard comes and says, not
today,
not today, and most importantly, he goes, I can't have Spurs win. Is that something he's adopted? You reckon then from the teams have kind of made that rivalry more than it existing outside?
I think Chelsea fans, I know from what you said there, Jamie, from a Tottenham perspective, it's Arsenal, and being a player for Tottenham, it's Arsenal. Yeah. Whereas Chelsea's biggest rival is Tottenham. Like we sing about Tottenham every week. Like Tottenham is certainly our fixture that we think of. but the players inherit that from the fans. Like Hazard basically said that.
Yeah.
You know that season when Hazard scored that incredible goal against Tottenham, stopped them winning the league. That was basically the only game he played for us.
It was terrible.
That was the only game. That was the only game. We went to Bournemouth the week before, and we were singing at Bournemouth. We were saying, "You better beat Tottenham." Next, like we were just singing. It didn't matter what happened in that game. We finished 10th that year, but we went 2-0 down against Tottenham, and Hazard and Costa basically went, "We can't let Tottenham win the league."
That is crazy.
Chelsea are shit now, though, aren't they? Let's be They are, though, aren't they? Come on, like, they're not like they used to be.
That's fantastic.
Do you know, like, they're not the team they were.
No. This is
You
the
must
worst
be
thing
hurt, man.
The worst thing that's ever happened to Chelsea is this takeover, this clear lake. Like they're moving the club in a terrible direction. And
I don't think
sadly,
this is the worst thing to happen to Chelsea. I actually can't say what the worst thing to happen to Chelsea is due to the cameras and the nature of everyone in this room. We all know what the worst thing to happen to Chelsea. But this can be the second worst thing.
The second worst thing to happen to Chelsea is certainly this takeover. Like they're moving the club in a direction that's unrecognisable and they're destroying the soul of the club. It's painful. But we'll always have our memories. We'll always have Hazard.
Yeah.
We'll always have 5-1 at Wembley. We'll always have 6-1 at the Lane. We'll always have Toure and Flow's hat-trick.
Yeah. You can't get away from it. You can't get away from it. We've had success.
So then moving forward now, do you see, because to be honest with you, I look at the Tottenham project, it definitely makes a lot more sense to me than the Chelsea project. And then I look thinking moving forward, Chelsea is just like a nice experiment that hopefully people can make money from and stuff like that. Tottenham actually looks like they're going somewhere. They're going to do something. Is this going to be a shift then? Are we going to potentially? No. Why is that?
No, Chelsea are in a terrible state, the worst state that we've been in my lifetime, I think, apart from when we nearly went bankrupt.
Oh, wow.
Like that's how bad we are at the moment. But we'll still finish above Tottenham in the league.
I don't know if you
I don't know. Yeah, honestly.
I don't know if you do.
I don't even like these guys, but I don't know if you do, man. I'll be sorry, Rory, man. What makes you say that? Because you've got a plan that no one knows what's going on.
To coin a phrase from Roy Keane, poet, it's Tottenham. It's Tottenham.
But they finished above. They finished above both of them.
Chelsea finish above Tottenham. In other news, water is wet. That's what happens. Chelsea finish above Tottenham.
I can't see it this season, mate. Look, I think you've got some good players. I'll tell you what, you're standing there in a bad place. You've got some top players in that squad. But I just don't know if you've got the mentality anymore. The mentality's changed.
We haven't. Our intention isn't to simply win games of football anymore. It's about profit. It's about a different outlook. I don't particularly rate our manager. There are a million reasons why Chelsea are going to struggle this season.
Not sure about Maresca, you know.
No, neither am I.
See, he seems like quite arrogant, doesn't he?
Who's that?
Maresca.
I love him.
Do you like him?
What Maresca does is cuts out all of the nonsense that back in the day we weren't aware of. Maresca says, forget all the speculation, Sterling's not in the squad. And then Sterling comes out and says something, and then everyone can make their own conclusion. Now, 10, 15 years ago, someone's, all of a sudden, he's isolated from the squad. The press makes some story. All of a sudden, that guy's can't move forward in his career now because the club's not going to say anything about it. He can't say nothing about it. At least it's clear now. Maresca's like, he's not part of our plans. I'm sure he's a great player. I like him, but he's not part of our plans. That gives him the opportunity to move to Arsenal. I think this scenario 15 years ago, Sterling is in a bad situation.
Yeah,
I think that's such a generous appraisal of the situation. I think that's so kind to Maresca.
Treated him like
wow. He's treated Sterling disgracefully.
No, but he's been treated disgracefully before Maresca came. Maresca's been here since what, July? Sterling's been there for almost best part of 3 years now. Maresca cannot take the brunt of this situation here. He's probably come into something and they've said, look, he's at the latter end stage of his career. We need to bring in younger players. We're going to get rid of him. But guess what? You're the manager. You've got to be the spokesperson. The person that actually made the decision, like most things in life, is sat somewhere having a laugh geezer. Yeah. So I'm not going to get at Maresca for doing that. I think it's damn brave that he goes, you know what? He's not part of my plans and doesn't make it a reflection of his character.
I hear you and I agree with you to a certain extent. But the problem he's got is because he's binned off loads of them.
Loads of good players
who are good lads, who are still going to be in and around that dressing room. It can leak into the main dressing room.
That's true.
And then, and all of a sudden, if you see Maresca and he's been the way he is, he's quite arrogant and he says it how he is. I like that, straight to the point. But the players there at the moment, if all of a sudden they start having a few bad games, who's to say he turns around to them and says, actually, you're in the bomb squad now. So the players all of a sudden start worrying about themselves and not about the team. They play, they're not playing for each other because they're thinking, this manager can bin me off like he's bin them off in a heartbeat.
No, but you've got to give him some time because that statement still needs a level of consistency shown before we go, it's wrong or right. Because he's just made it, he's taken him out, 3 games gone. Now, if whatever he said he sticks to for 6-7 months' time, you've got a level of consistency where the players can't say that. Because they will say, do you know what, whatever he said in August, It's January now. He's sticking to it, and I think that Arteta did it at Arsenal.
Yeah.
He's stuck to his guns through everything, and then years later, I'm laughing at the prospect of Jamie thinking Spurs can beat Arsenal on the weekend, and that wasn't always the case. So I'm saying, Maresca, for me, this is the right thing to do moving forward.
I reckon time will tell whether this is okay or not. If Raheem Sterling goes to Arsenal and ends up having a massive moment for them, a huge defining moment, title-winning moment potentially, then it's a ridiculous signing then it's a ridiculous move from Enzo Maresca. If Sterling ultimately doesn't play and Trossard keeps him out of the team, then maybe we've got away with it.
But if Sterling was never going to play for you, then why is it?
But he should be playing for us because he's obviously a better player than Mykhailo Mudryk.
Mudryk's not even starting though. I like Mudryk as well.
But Mudryk's still
I loved him until he came to the Premier League.
Yeah,
shocking. My bad.
He's bad.
Shocking.
He's bad. No, I think the way that we've treated Sterling, I think, is appalling. He came back early.
Should have got rid of Mudryk and kept Sterling.
Completely agree.
I heard you tried to.
Completely agree.
I heard you tried to, but
really,
I guess no one wants that.
No one wants Mudryk.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And Sterling now, and Sterling's got to look at it. He's 29 years old. He probably wants to try and get back into the England side. You've got Nkuku that you're playing wide left. You've got obviously Noni Madueke. I loved him since PSV. He's a baller.
Yeah.
I just think you've got other things that you're exploring right now, and you've got to trust in those. If you've got 22, 23-year-old players, you've got a younger squad. No disrespect to Raheem Sterling, it doesn't look like they have senior figures throughout the squad. You've got to get rid of him.
Somebody like Noni Madueke would be inspired having Raheem Sterling with them in training. Like
this guy's he's on FaceTime to Ruby Rose. What do you mean? You think he cares about Sterling like that?
I think he.
Do you know who Ruby Rose is?
No, not close.
There we go, my guy. They're on two different pages.
Literally not a clue.
They're not.
Do you know?
You type in Ruby, everyone at home, type in Ruby Rose, and you'll know why it just doesn't make sense.
Should I know who?
Raheem Sterling's in a committed relationship. Everyone that starts for Arsenal has a wife. That makes sense. Ruby Rose. I just want you to look at it and love Ruby Rose. That's my G. You don't know. But I'm just saying, Ruby Rose, Noni Madueke, Raheem Sterling and his missus, they're not going for dinner. They're not going for dinner.
I need to Google Ruby Rose.
Google Ruby Rose. One of the best, the latest. Shout out East Africa. We love you, man.
We're going to rate our transfer policy over the summer. I'll start with Spurs. I don't think it's been that good, I'll be honest. I think I think we needed to be a bit more ambitious. Like, Solanke's a good player, don't get me wrong. We bought him, it's a lot of money. He has to, he's not fit, he's got injured. He's scored goals, but he's going to need to do it at the highest level now for Spurs. Archie Gray,
Baller.
Good player.
What a player.
But he's young. And, Odegaard from Burnley.
He's a player.
I know, but we signed players from Burnley, Bournemouth,
Forget
and Leeds.
Yeah. Doesn't matter, man. They're players.
It does matter because when
the Swedish boys
when you're seeing Chelsea signing with their signing and Arsenal signing players, top players, you look at Spurs' policy and you go, I like it, I get it. Young players, Ange wants them, he can bring them in, coach, but I feel like there's a lack of, we argued about not scoring goals. Well, then bringing people who are guaranteed to score you goals.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we lacking a little bit. I would say I'd go with 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10?
Yeah, I don't think it's been... hopefully I'm wrong, but I think we've shown a lack of ambition. There was top players out there to sign and we don't sign anyone.
What about Arsenal player?
As usual, absolutely sensational. I love their hair. I can see they use good hair products, and that's always important. And we've identified the areas where I was always quite scared. I was totally terrified of our left-hand side. I didn't think it was good enough. I thought Zinchenko was a little bit unreliable. And as much as everybody loves Martinelli, I don't love him the way everybody else loves him. So I just wanted a new left-back. I wanted a new left winger, and then I wanted whoever played the 8 role, because Xhaka played it so well, I wanted them to be able to play it very well, to be able to help Sterling and also defensively cover to help our left back. So the 3 players that we brought in on that left hand side, I think definitely solved the issues that might have existed on that side. There's loads of games from the last season, even games that we're comfortable in at the Emirates, and then all of a sudden Zinchenko's just thinking about, I don't know, hip-hop, and then all of a sudden he's lost the ball. It's 2-1 against Wolves, and it was a comfortable game, and now we're chasing. I just don't want them situations. I like the way it is now.
Don't you think you need a striker, though?
Nah, do you know why? I think when you make a decision, I like people that make a decision and say, irrespective of what anyone's saying, I'm sticking with this. And that decision to give Kai Havertz that responsibility towards the back end of last year and see it throughout the season meant that we lost the title by 2 points. And I think to lose the title to arguably the greatest manager of all time is not a bad thing. And I take a look at his goals and assist contribution. I go, what does that look like in a year's time? You have to give it space to grow. So I'd rather, especially in the market, what was we going to get? What strikers are really out there? Because when Man City... But I don't trust Osimhen. Personally, I've watched him a lot. I don't trust Osimhen, but I love him. But in that side, he hasn't got a wife. I would like him to get a wife, get married, and then come to Arsenal. Then I'll trust you.
You like Sir Alex Ferguson. He always wanted his players married, didn't he?
I like that.
You want them married?
Well, you learn from the best. That's what Arteta wants. Jorginho, married. Kai Havertz, married. Gabriel Jesus had to get... Everyone is married. All the kit man, married. That's what I want to see. Reece Nelson wasn't going to get married. He had to go. I'm joking, Reece. I love you.
Out of 10, overall, your window out of 10?
I think our window out of 10 feels like a 13. I'm going to give it a 12.5 out of 10.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Ours feels just a little bit all over the place. It's a weird situation because... It's a weird situation because...
Just a bit.
You know,
looks like easy gym over there, man. This is crazy.
You know, if you look at the players, though, we signed some incredibly talented footballers.
Yeah, I know.
Like Pedro Neto is an excellent footballer. Joao Felix is an excellent footballer. The question is whether we need them. So you know how you've identified a problem in your team? You've identified that left side and you've attacked it and solved a potential problem. Our glaring error in the team, the major issue that we had is that we didn't have a centre forward. We've signed loads of players, signed loads of talented players who can score goals, but we still don't have a centre forward.
Yeah, but it's like a centre forward nowadays with the way football's changed. It is such a rarity to just find a striker.
But two exist.
Yeah.
Two exist.
Out there.
But Jackson is 23 years old, and I don't understand why we invest in young players and then it doesn't go right for a season and then we go, all right. Mate, when I was 23 years old, I didn't know my bloody arse from my head. So I'm like, give these people an opportunity.
Elbow.
They've come, my elbow. They didn't, give them opportunities, just come to the Premier League. He's from Villarreal. He didn't have the most successful season, but I'll tell you what, he's killed them lot a while. Give him a chance, give him another season.
He's just not that ruthless finisher.
But Drogba wasn't when he first signed. When Chelsea first signed and you got all this money, you had bloody Kesman up front, you had Drogba up front, you had so many strikers. I remember Zola so many guys that weren't prolific, but because they all chipped in, they made contributions, and over time, Drogba became Drogba.
Ain't gonna win you the league, mate. I'm sorry, yeah.
Bro, there's nothing you can sign that's going to win you the league. I
was so desperate for Tony as well. Ivan Toney made so much sense.
The same guy that goes on holiday and just goes on boats and says F the club he's playing for. What are we doing here?
Is your issue with everyone, whether they're married or not?
Yes, I want married people at my club. I don't want people that want to cheat. That's me. And I know what I'm like. So I don't want to play for my club. I would ruin my club. So get me some married guys in.
I feel like you've got some trauma that you need to deal with.
So we've all got trauma, Jamie. You're a Spurs fan. You know more than most. Get me some married individuals.
Overall, the window's crazy for me because we've got great players. Like I think Pedro Neto's an excellent footballer.
Yeah, he's good.
The question is whether we needed him and whether we solved our issues. So I'm going to give it a similar score to you. 5 out of 10, just because we haven't signed the players that we need.
So do I, man.
We've got 7 goalkeepers at the club. We've got 7 goalkeepers. None of them are good enough to play. We've got no striker. We've got 1 recognised left back.
What's the reason, though?
This.
What's the reason? There's 2 reasons.
What, for 7 goalkeepers?
1, you're going to get a transfer ban. So bring as much as you can bring in right now so you can get rid of it. Or 2, our country's going to war. We need as much people in this country as possible. Get them here so we know we're safe.
Vote below. It's one of those 2.
It's one of the 2. So I don't know. Either way, if we're going to war, I'm moving to New Zealand. It's very far away from everything. Shout out Stewart Island. Ruby Rose. Rory, since you hate your transfer policy at your club so much, and I believe you shouldn't, let's do a little quick fire.
Okay.
We're going to do a hit or miss, and you just tell me when I name the player how you feel, and Jamie, please feel free to jump in because I don't agree fully with this guy.
Yeah.
All right. Left back, Mark Cucurella.
Hit.
This is crazy to me.
Well, I mean, he plays every week. He's clearly a good player. He's now dethroned Ben Chilwell. It has to work.
Oh, that's hard.
It has to work.
The mighty Ben Chilwell.
I like Cucurella.
I love him.
It has to
for
work.
Spain.
Yeah, there is a problem. But if we can get him playing that way, if he can rediscover the form that he demonstrated at Brighton and for his country, then we've got a real player there.
That's fair enough.
I think it's a hit.
Oh, okay. Alex Disasi.
No, the biggest miss that you can possibly, whatever the biggest word is, I don't have enough of a vocabulary. Yeah, whatever it is, this is a miss of the highest order. Dreadful footballer.
Fully agree. And I'm just saying he's single.
Dreadful
just think
footballer.
about
He's not married, that's the problem.
Marriage people. Malo Gusto.
Am I allowed the juries out? People really like him.
Mate.
I like him, man. He's a player.
Come on, mate. He's a player.
Do you know what gets me? The delivery. He gets into the position. It's just that delivery.
Me too.
Also, I'm always comparing him to Reece James. I'm always looking at what Reece James does.
You can't, man. He's made of glass. Reece James is. You need to forget about Reece James, mate. He's never fit.
He's a player, though. Reece James.
Malo Gusto for me is a hit.
Hits. The next player, I don't think it's much of a conversation. Mudryk.
Oh, it's Axel Disasi levels of miss.
Yeah, it's even worse.
It's even worse.
It's even worse,
Yeah, it's even
man.
worse.
Even
I
worse.
don't know what he's good at. Like you know
Running fast.
with some footballers, like even players that I don't rate, Disasi. At least I can identify areas of his game that I do rate. With Mikhail Mudryk, I just feel like it's so flawed. Miss.
I think he's good at TikTok. Would you know? Oh, find out. How about Moises Caicedo?
Hit.
I agree.
Jury out.
Ooh. Enzo Fernandez?
Miss.
Pardon?
Miss of the highest order. He's dreadful.
Yeah, he's bad.
You rate
I
him?
agree with you.
Do you?
Serious?
He's a miss.
He's dreadful.
Yeah, he's
dreadful.
terrible.
We're a better team without
He's
him.
a
innit?
massive problem for you.
Yeah, we're a far better team without him in the team.
Lavia's a better player.
I think he proves you wrong.
Conor Gallagher's a far better player.
No, I'm not having him.
Conor Gallagher's better than Enzo.
By a mile.
All right, let's move on to the next one. This
I
is
agree with
great.
that. I think you've treated him poorly. Enzo's a problem for you. You made him captain.
I agree. Ridiculous, embarrassing decision that as well.
Raheem Sterling?
It's a miss for us. We should have never let him go, and we certainly shouldn't have let him go to Arsenal. There needs to be principle here. He's going to have a massive moment that could win Arsenal the league, and we've given it to them. We're paying 100 million quid to Arsenal to take our players. Absolutely ridiculous.
Keep going.
I won't. I refuse. But miss from our perspective.
It's been a miss.
Anything to add, Jamie? Feel free.
He won't do something that Arsenal win the league. I'll tell you that now. He'll do something good. It won't be Arsenal.
I hope you're correct.
Noni Madueke, a.k.a.
Baller.
Hit.
Hit. Ruby Rose agrees, man.
Ruby Rose, hit. I think. I don't know who that
Big
is.
man,
but
you're a
hit.
married man. You better be careful. Yeah. Come on. You know what I'm saying? I'm single. I'm trying to get my situation back, so take it from me. Nicholas Jackson.
I think he's a really good player, but he's not very good at what we need him to do, which is score. He's really good at loads of other things. I think this is a hit. This is a hit. He's a very good player, good at lots of things on the pitch, but the thing that we need him to be good at, he isn't particularly good at.
I think he could be a hit.
Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah,
I certainly don't want to sell him or anything like that.
I think he took a lot of flack.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's a poor player.
No, he's
Yes,
incomparable to...
I agree with that.
Like, Axel Disasi should never play for Chelsea again.
Yeah.
Enzo Fernandez should never play for Chelsea again. Mikhail Mudryk should never play for Chelsea again. Nicholas Jackson should start our next game. He's a good player. He just doesn't score enough goals. Yeah.
It's so crazy that you imagine I love my postman, but all my mail was next door. It's why do I love him? But I meet him. He's such a nice guy. He's pleasant. You gotta love people for doing their job, because I think it's kind of harsh for you to say Enzo this person out, that person out. Clearly they're not doing their job.
They're not.
And then Nicholas doesn't do his job, but you like him?
Because he does lots of other good things.
Yeah.
You
can be a good player and not score goals. Bobby Zamora.
Yeah.
Killed Bobby. And Cuckoo's the last one.
We haven't seen enough of him. He just can't keep fit. I think the player is there.
Yeah,
I think he's an excellent player. I'm worried about his injury because it's the same injury. Like the injury that kept him out of the World Cup is the same injury that kept him out of last season. So it's slightly concerning, his injury record. But there is a player there. He's one of the better players. And if we can keep him fit, I think there's a real player on our hands.
I think the biggest player out of this that I'm surprised wasn't there is my favourite player in the Premier League, Mr. Cole Palmer. Biggest hit, Chelsea, man. That is...
There's no debate.
There is... mate, he's too good.